Today is June 28th. It's the 179th day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. On this day in 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie are assassinated in Sarajevo by Bosnian Serb nationalist Gavrilo Princip. Archduke Franz Ferdinand is the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. He visits Sarajevo to inspect the army of Bosnia and Herzegovina in the region annexed by Austria-Hungary 6 years earlier in 1908. June 28th is Serbia's National Day, Vidovdan, commemorating the Battle of Kosovo against the Ottoman Empire when the Sultan is assassinated in his tent by a Serb on this day in 1389. Many Serbs see Ferdinand's visit on this day to the recently annexed Sarajevo as an insult. Among those insulted are a group of young Bosnian Serbs outraged over the annexation, who believe they should be part of Serbia. They plan to assassinate Ferdinand, and today their day has come. The conspirators line the motorcade route that has been published in advance in the paper. The first attempt is made when a grenade is lobbed at the Archduke's open-top touring car. The grenade is an old one with a long fuse. It bounces off the Archduke's car and explodes under the next car that passes, injuring some of the Archduke's entourage. Ferdinand continues on to the town hall to meet with local officials as scheduled. Following the town hall reception, Ferdinand changes his plans and decides to go to the hospital to visit those injured in the earlier assassination attempt. But his driver doesn't get the message and continues on the original published route, which takes them down Apple Quay and onto Franz Joseph Street. Soon after turning onto Franz Joseph Street, the local governor, Oskar Piotrek, calls to the driver from the passenger seat, telling him that he's taken a wrong turn. With the change of plans, he should have stayed on Apple Quay. The driver stops the Archduke's sedan, stopping in front of Moritz Schiller's Delicatessen. Franz Joseph Street is one of the finest shopping destinations in Sarajevo at the time, and there's a crowd of people in front of Schiller's Delicatessen. Among them is 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip, one of the assassins, who has relocated from his original position on the motorcade route to what he hopes will be a better vantage point for the Archduke's return from town hall. He couldn't have picked a better spot. With the Archduke's vehicle stopped directly in front of him, Princip seizes the moment, steps up to the car, and fires a shot from his Belgian-made Fabrique Nationale pistol into Archduke Ferdinand's neck. He then moves to shoot Governor Piotrek, but is grabbed from behind by a bystander. When Princip pulls the trigger, he shoots the Archduke's wife, Sophie, instead. Before he can fire any more, he's tackled to the ground by the bystanders, but he's already done enough damage. Both Franz and Sophie are dead. There have been ongoing conflicts in Europe for the past 50 years. A lot of countries are building empires, and not everyone is happy to be swept up into someone else's empire. There is widespread nationalism throughout the continent, and alliances are created between the varied powers of Europe. Britain and France and Russia lining up on one side, and the Germans, Austro-Hungarians, and the crumbling Ottoman Empire on the other. As a direct result of the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand on this day in 1914, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Russia, in alliance with Serbia, mobilizes forces to move on Austria-Hungary. Britain and France stand by their alliance with Serbia as well, and Germany, in alliance with Austria-Hungary, declares war on everyone. By 1917, the United States and 99 other countries are at war in what is called at the time the Great War. The war ends in November 1918, and the peace treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, is signed on this day in 1919. The harsh treatment of the Germans in the Treaty of Versailles leads to discontent in Germany, and the rise of nationalism and National Socialism, which leads to World War II, which leads to the division of Germany, the conflict in the Middle East, the Cold War, which leads to the proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam, a ripple effect of war and conflict that starts with a single shot fired by Gavrilo Princip at Archduke Ferdinand on a street in Sarajevo on this day in 1914. And passing away on this day in 1981, Canadian runner and activist Terry Fox. Terry Fox is born in Winnipeg, Manitoba in 1958. His family moves to Port Coquitlam in British Columbia, and he grows up to be quite the athlete. After a car accident in 1976, he has reoccurring pain in his right knee. He puts off going to the doctor, and when he finally does get it checked out, he learns he has bone cancer. Fox's right leg is amputated, and he undergoes chemotherapy. He's inspired by the story of Dick Traum, the first amputee to complete the New York City Marathon. Fox sets his mind to doing the same, and more. He doesn't just plan to run a marathon, he plans to run a marathon every day, crossing the entire country of Canada, in an effort to raise funds for cancer research. When Terry Fox begins his Marathon of Hope in April of 1980, it is before the days of cancer awareness, ribbons, 5 and 10K fundraisers. But Fox is determined, and he gets the Canadian Cancer Society to support his transcontinental run, as well as corporations such as Ford, who donate a camper van support vehicle, and Adidas, who donate running shoes. Fox dips his foot in the Atlantic Ocean and sets off from St. John's, Newfoundland, headed for Victoria, British Columbia. His goal is to raise $1 million. He runs through small towns in Newfoundland where the residents turn out to cheer him on and give him donations they've collected, $5,000, $10,000. Fox is touched by the support and the donations, but he's discouraged that his run is not getting the national attention he hoped it would. He runs 26 miles a day, every day another 26 miles. A little over 2 months into his run, he attracts the attention of Isidore Sharp, CEO of Four Seasons Hotel and Resorts, who offers free food and lodging to Fox and his support team. Sharp also makes a donation and challenges 999 other corporations to do likewise. Along the way, Fox revises his goals. He wants to raise $24 million, $1 from every Canadian. When he arrives in Ottawa on Canada Day, July 1st, and Toronto 10 days later, he is met by tens of thousands of people who turn out with large donations for his cause. Fox attains the nationwide attention he desires, and he's still only in Ontario. But by the time he reaches Thunder Bay, Ontario, 143 days into his run, he is short of breath and suffering chest pain. He checks himself into the hospital and learns the cancer has returned and now has spread to his lungs. Fox puts his run on hold and returns home, having raised $1.7 million at that point. A week later, a national telethon is organized, which raises over $10 million, and by February of the next year, the amount rises to $24 million. Terry Fox never finishes his Marathon of Hope. He passes away on this day in 1981. Afterwards, Isidore Sharp organizes the Terry Fox Run, an annual fundraiser in honor of Fox, a fundraising event that expands every year. The Terry Fox Foundation is established to continue his efforts to inform people about the disease and to find a cure. To date, the foundation has raised over $700 million for cancer research. And Terry Fox quickly becomes a Canadian folk hero, an ordinary person attempting the extraordinary with compassion, commitment, and perseverance. He is honored with statues of him erected at various points along his route, roads, schools, and buildings named after him, a mountain, a provincial park, and a special dollar coin minted in 2005 bearing his image, commemorating the 25th anniversary of the Marathon of Hope. It is the first regular circulation coin to feature a Canadian. Terry Fox is 22 years old when he passes away on this day in 1981. He intended to run coast to coast in order to raise national awareness and funding for cancer research. But in the end, he only had to run to Thunder Bay. There are 186 days left in the year.